Hi there, my name is Daniel Walter Scott and I'm an Adobe certified instructor here at Envato Tuts Plus. Now in this course I'm going to show you everything you need to know about getting started with Adobe InDesign. Now this course is aimed at people completely new to InDesign. There is no need to have any previous experience in the software or graphic design or desktop publishing. We're going to start right at the beginning and work our way through step by step. Together, during this course, we're going to make a 4-page brochure learning the tools and techniques necessary to design it and get it ready for print. We'll work with color, we'll pick your own and use corporate colors as well. You'll learn how to choose and use fonts like a professional, even working on longer text documents. You'll learn how to find, resize, and crop images ready for your professional work. You'll learn how to open other people's InDesign files, fix the fonts, fix the images so that you can start making adjustments. So if you've never opened up InDesign, or you have and you've struggled a bit with it, come with me and I'll show you the easy way to make beautiful design work in Adobe InDesign. Hello there, you made it into the class. This video is all about us getting started, a few things we need to get set up. We'll download the exercise files, I'll show you how to share your files, and I'll show you how to get your machine set up so that your copy of InDesign looks like mine. So first up is downloading the source files, okay, so that you can play along with me. Depending on where you're watching this course, okay, first try might be going back to the home page of this course, and you'll see source files in kind of over this side of the video. Otherwise, check underneath this particular video, there'll be a useful links, okay, and see if the source file's in there. So download those and get ready. Next thing we'll talk about is sharing your work. All right, next up is sharing your work and asking questions. So best place is on the forum. Okay, so go to Envato Tuts Plus, okay, and go to the website and check out the forum. Okay, it's one of the top links on the website, and look for this course. Okay, it'll be labeled under InDesign for Beginners, and you can drop your questions and your homework that I said at the end of this in there. If you prefer though, you want to share it on social media, okay, on Twitter, we are Tuts Plus Design, or me personally, I am Dan Loves Adobe, or on Instagram, I am Bring Your Own Laptop. So questions and cool examples of the work you've done, you can share them that way. Next thing we need to do is hang around. We're going to jump in and get our computers set up so that yours looks like mine, so that we can start off pretty perfect. All right, let's jump onto the computer. All right, we're here inside the computer. I'm not sure why I dived there, but hey, we're here. First thing we need to do is we need to kind of like internationalize ourselves. Because if you're working with imperial or metric measurements, sometimes InDesign loads up with something called pickers. If you've never used that measurement before, we all need to get on the same page. We're going to use inches in this course. So we've opened up InDesign. Yours might look a little different from mine, but that's all right. On a Mac, you follow me first. Okay, so InDesign, go to preferences and go down to units and increments. So that's if you're a Mac user. If you're a PC user, it's a very similar thing, but it's under edit. And down here, you'll find something called preferences and units and increments. Okay, so follow me in here. Now I live in Europe, so I end up doing lots of things with millimeters, okay, but we're gonna do this one in inches just because that's where most of the Tuts Plus crowd are from. Okay, so we're gonna click on inches. Yours might be sent to picers, okay, it's a kind of a more traditional print measurement. I don't even know how to use it. I always switch mine to inches and millimeters. So we're going to use inches and inches. Strokes are typically used as points. We never change that. And I don't go and change anything else. The one thing we might do while we're in here is go to the dictionary and just make sure you're using the language that's going to do your spell check. Okay. So you can switch between English USA or English UK or whatever dictionary you need to use. Now the thing is with changing this preference, make sure when you're doing it that no documents are open. If you have no documents open, it's going to change it forever for all new documents. If I have one document open and then go and mess with it, it'll only change it for that particular document. So if you feel like you're changing it and it's never sticking, it's because you've got a document open. All right, next thing we're going to do is reset our workspace, just so that your version of InDesign looks like mine throughout the tutorial. The first thing we need to do is just open up any old document. We're going to make a new document, so File, New Document, and just leave all the defaults, whatever it's set to, I don't mind, click Create. We'll cover all of that better in a second. What I want to do is make your InDesign version look like mine. Okay, to do it, you go up to Window, and just be sure you're on Essentials. Okay, so I'm using the version CC 2019. If you're using an earlier version, I'll talk about that just in a second, but you should be using the latest version if you can. Okay, so Workspace, make sure you're on Essentials, click on it. Okay, you should have a little tick next to it. And then you can go to Reset Essentials. Okay, and then watch what happens to my little workspace. It kind of resets to the predefined size. And hopefully now yours looks like mine and we can continue on. Now, if you're one of the people who are quite new to InDesign and Adobe programs, you might be like the person who loves to accidentally drag these out to places and they end up in weird spots and you're like, oh no, panels everywhere. Okay, to reset it all back, your get out of jail free card is Window, Workspace, and just make sure you're on Essentials and click on this Reset Essentials again and whew, it's all back to normal. Now, if you're using an earlier version of InDesign, say 2018 or CS6 even, okay, you'll be able to follow along with this course. The trouble is going to be is you don't have this properties panel. Your version of Essentials will have the properties panel along the top. And while most of it is the same, you'll see a lot of the width and height along the top instead of the side. There are a few differences and you're just going to have to figure out, okay, if you're looking for guides, you're probably going to find guides, not in a handy little button here. You're going to find it under Window and Guides. So you can play along. You just need a little bit more investigation involved. All right, so that's going to be it. Let's close down this window, don't save it, and we'll move on to the next video where we start talking about new documents. Hey there, in this video we're going to create the cover for our brochure. We're going to create a new page and it's going to end up looking nothing like this. It's going to end up looking like this. A little more boring, but it's our first video. We're going to learn how to create a page, how to work with margins, and what this bleed thing is all about. All right, let's jump in and get busy. Okay, to get started, close down any document you might have opened or any new document you created in the last video. Let's all go to Start. Let's go to New and go to Document. All right, this thing appears. Yours is going to be different from mine because I've got lots of recent things I've used. Let's go across to Print. Now, it doesn't really matter if you're using this for traditional print. Okay, you're going to send it to a printer for a brochure, or whether you plan on using this as a PDF at the end. That's more to do with the export at the end. But we're going to start the same way. We're going to use print. We're going to use US letter. Okay, but obviously you can use A4 if you want. And can you see where it says view all presets? There's a bunch of other kind of like typical sizes that you can use in there. Business cards and compact disc. I assume that had gone by now, but hey ho. All right, so let's click on letter, and over here on the right, let's discuss the basics. So width and height is easy. You can change your units. Okay, mine's going to be inches. Orientation, landscape, portrait, nice and easy. Number of pages, we'll just have one to start with. We're going to do that cover, and we'll add extra pages later on. Let's turn facing pages off for the moment. We'll talk about that later in the course, but just having one single page, just have that off. We'll start our page numbering at 1. And the only other thing we'll discuss is margins and bleed and slug. So margins is nothing really. It's just an invisible line around the inside of your page, just to give yourself some sort of, internal margin so that there's consistency away from the edges in InDesign. Okay, whenever I'm teaching somebody that's new, without margins, you end up kind of like some text is closer to the right than it is on the left. And margins is just a nice way of having consistent kind of borders on your document. In this particular design, I'm going to move mine up to like 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to click 1 and click over here. And because this link is broken, depending on yours, I think it remembers the last thing you did. So I'm going to put that on and they should all turn to 1 inch. Doesn't matter. Just make sure they're all 1 inch all the way around. And next we're going to talk about bleed and slug. Okay, so we'll jump out to Real Dan and he'll explain you. I've got a magazine here that I'll show you. It'll better help you understand bleed. All right, I am back. Let's talk about bleed now in the real flesh. So bleed is, let's say that this is our the magazine that we're making, or the brochure. Okay, it's US letter and we've got the right size. Okay, but now we need to add bleed, and bleed is just a little bit around the edges, a little bit extra, okay, that we have to add to a document when we're sending it to physical print. If this is going to be a PDF, we don't need to add bleed, okay, because bleed is, let's say this picture of this handsome man here, we need it to be just a little bit bigger. It's normally about 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch, okay, a little bit extra on the outside. okay? And that little bit of extra gets trimmed off at the end. You can see this magazine here, right? If I was producing this, this magazine would be the